6:44 in the morning, and this is episode 1 of turning $100 into $1,000. And if you're here from Facebook or Instagram, then you already know why I said I wanted to do this series. And if you're not, I pretty much wanted to do this to show people it does not take a lot of money to get into option trading. Okay, it does not take a lot of money, but of course, it takes learning, and understanding how to trade, how to understand the charts, and all of that. Now, let me just say this, okay? I am not one of them people to overcomplicate stuff. I do not believe in overcomplicating trading. Okay. Some people or people who teach it will overcomplicate the hell out of it, but it just does not have to be overcomplicated at all. The way I was taught was overcomplicated, and so my whole goal is to try to keep it simple, okay? Because to me personally, the best trading is done when it's done simple or simply. Y'all get it. So one of the things that um, I do want to say with this is that we are not looking for big, massive moves. Okay, remember we working with $100 here, $100, and so we won't start trading like bigger companies like the S&P 500, like companies that I'll be trading on my other account than versus over here because we want to be in the money or at least at the money. We want to have some decent delta so that you guys can see this thing moving with the price. Because if we go too far away, because we're working with such small amounts, trying to trade the S&P 500 or Apple, Microsoft, and all of them, then we are going to see our profits coming in much slower or not at all, or we'll be in that trade all day. Small profits every single day, let it build up, and then we can work our way up with bigger plays throughout the series so that you guys can see. We started small, then we kind of worked our way into other stocks. Okay, so I want to try to keep it as simple as possible. You guys will be able to see what I'm doing. Right now, I'm trying to get my stuff together, okay? Gotta have the trading journal. Trading journal is where you track your trades, okay? This is letting you know, this is just your reminders of what you're doing every day on the charts, right? You set your entry times. You got, why you entered the trade, the ticker, your information, strike prices, your take profit, your stop losses, why you exited, the times, all of that stuff, even down to the emotion. Okay. What were your emotions when you entered that trade? Why did you exit it? Did you follow your rules? Something we'll talk about later, and all of that. So simple but effective, okay? Because you want to be sure that you know why you are entering your trades, because why you do something on the charts is everything. It's what helps you with your patterns, understand your pattern. If you're consistently losing, tracking those losses in your trades will tell you why the hell you keep losing so you can stop doing it. That's the whole point of it, right? So if you're winning, it's like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And if you go back to your journal and it's like, okay, I did this same thing over and over again and I won. I did this same thing over and over again and I kept losing my trade. I kept breaking my rules and I kept losing my trade. You see, just keeping up with your patterns and stuff like that, right? And little black book or candlestick pattern. I keep this up here. I have been learning, like genuinely mastering my candlesticks the last 2 years. I've been trading 6 years, by the way, but mastering my candlesticks for the last two. And the money is in the candle. Your candlesticks will tell you what is about to take place next. Okay, are things about to get bullish? Things about to get bearish? Then you see candlestick pattern, tweezers, double top, double bottom, head and shoulders, things like that. Morning stars, evening stars, all of that. I actually have another series where it's the candlestick lesson series where I'm pretty much basing it off this book. So learn your candles and you will see probably some of your best trading, as long as you're too following other criteria that you should be able to set for yourself when you're trading. Okay, so we'll get more into all of that. And then of course I have my notebook. Got to have a notebook. I take notes. I normally write everything that goes in my trading journal in here first, and then I put everything in here first, and then I put it in my trading journal and just move it over. So that way I can take my notes and then just put it in there. So that's pretty much what that looks like. And I'm trying to find us a good one to work with in the electronic space, okay? In the semiconductors and where that, any stock that will that could have some impact from the whole tariff exemption news that we may be that we got that we may see some more of on today. Um, but the stocks that I'm trading on the other account, unfortunately, is going to have to be off the list for the series account because I do not want to go, okay, to the abyss trying to find us an option. I mean, trying to find us a premium or a strike that's way down there with like 5, 6 cents deltas just for the sake of trading particular stocks when we do not have to do that. Okay, so I have a few in mind. I was looking at MU, AMD, and Intel, um, but we might be best with like Intel, possibly because Intel is like $22 if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see. I'm gonna see because that's one of the biggest things right there. Finding us one that's going to really that has the potential to see some decent move for our very first trade today. So I hope you guys stick around to learn how to trade and to see exactly how this thing is done. This is a patience game. And so if you don't have patience, then trading probably is not the best thing for you. Everybody better not saying that about my watch either. I know my watch old. Yeah, I know it's the first Apple Watch from 25 BC, but it's been helping me on big my back. So not too much on my watch. I would hate to block you from the series or trade Monday. And let me tell you why. So I completely forgot that the game plan for this series was not to day trade because I mainly want to talk about swing trading in this series. And by swing trading, I mean that you're getting into a position that you may hold for about 2, 3, 4 days, maybe an entire week, depending on when you enter into that position, okay? Because I don't want you, especially if you're new to this, to try to sit there and scalp or day trade. Whereas day trading means you're getting into a play. Maybe you'll be out in an hour or two. Maybe you're taking multiple trades a day, but you're exiting all of your position by the end of the day. And so if you don't quite get that scalping, day trading, and swing trading, I posted a video on my YouTube that you can check out where I explain the difference between the three types of traders. Okay. So I decided to go with GameStop on our trade to hold. Now, I didn't enter it yesterday. I entered it into it today, and I'm going to kind of show you guys, why I picked it and all of that. Because something that I was looking at on GameStop when I was kind of planning out this series or how I wanted to do it and how I wanted to try to keep it as simple as possible, I came over to one of the higher time frames and I saw something that I thought we could kind of work with as our very first trade, whereas the premiums are not expensive on GameStop. And it will be a good one to just kind of show you guys how this thing looks while we hold it. And so I have every intentions of getting out of this one on Friday. And when I get out on it on Friday, let me say this, the goal is about 25 to 30% per trade. Now, as we build up this account throughout this series, we'll be able to go into bigger plays. Just like I said in the video from when we were originally going to do this thing, I don't want to be all down there in the abyss. I don't want to go too far out of the money on trades. I want to, at all costs, be in the money or at the money so that we can have us some high deltas while this thing makes its move. And just to say this, the best sometime will come out of swing trading. Whereas when you're day trading, you're not staring at the charts all day. You're not looking at what's taking place too much that day that's resulting in you getting scared and then coming out of your play. Then Thursday, Friday, or that next week comes and you see that you should have stuck to the game plan and let that thing run. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys what it is that I saw on GameStop that I thought could be a very simple, low risk play for us to use for our very first trade in the series. So, what you're seeing here, okay, you guys see these two blue lines that I have here that are wedging together. This is what you call a rising wedge. And I am on the 1 hour chart for GameStop. So, if you don't know, if you don't understand how time frames work, which I probably should talk about that in another video, real quick, each one of these candles equals 1 hour. You're on a 5 minute time frame. Every candle equals 5 minutes of price action. Okay, so that's just what it means when you are on different time frames. So this rising wedge right here is what is a bearish pattern. So, well, it's a bearish signal, just basically showing that when the price starts wedging together, that means that thing is running out of steam, the volume is getting low, and it will result in the price to start dropping. So once it starts falling out of these two converging lines right here, what happens is we start to notice that the price is pushing down and it's retesting lower levels. Okay, and so when I saw this, I thought that this could be a decent one, especially seeing it on a 1 hour chart, that we could hold for a little bit, even though the series is a little bit late and this is pretty much the next day. Then this is cool. We can work with this, and the goal is to do about 25% per trade in the series. And I mostly said 25% to kind of like long out the series a little bit, but I may not do it like that because I want you to see that it could take a little bit of time to do, or depending on the trade you're in, depending on how that stock is moving, depending on how many increments it moves per day, then it can just kind of show you, okay, sometimes it can happen quick, or sometimes it could, take a little bit of time to do. But turning 100 into $1,000 in the right trades is it does not have to take like a full month. It doesn't have to take 3 weeks. It can be done in a week or two. It all depends on what trades you're getting into, what companies you're working with, how that company moves, what the volatility looks like. If we get some more news from Trump that just shoots up or shoot down the market, that could turn our $100 into something pretty big really quick, it happens, okay? But it does not always happen. So GameStop was going to be our very first trade, and it was basically with me seeing this rising wedge right here on their 1 hour time frame. And because you come to higher time frame, that usually will indicate that, hey, I plan on being in this trade for a little bit, so I want to focus on higher time frame and not the 1 minute, not the 5 minute, and sometimes not even the 15 minute, but you sort of can. It just depends. So I wanted to come to the hourly because I intend to hold this either until we get our 25% or hold it up until Friday. And remember, when it comes to expiration date, you do not have to hold your trade until your expiration. You can cut your losses and get out, or you can take your profits and get out. But the expiration date just lets us know how much time we got to be able to let this thing run. But I'm going to show you guys exactly what it looks like with entering this trade, and also explaining what you're seeing on the order part. So when you're going to place your order, I explain exactly what it is that we're looking at. So that's the part that we're going to get into next. You guys see up here, we ran up here, we did not break, and it hit again. The bears pretty much pushed it back down. And so I was watching this, and I said I wanted to see where it goes, because you kind of want to look at your pre-market high and your pre-market low to kind of give you an idea of the range that we might be trading in. And as you can see, GameStop doesn't make massive moves, but you might see $1.50, $2, $3 increments with GameStop. Okay. And another thing that I did, kind of like about it, sort of, is that when we go to the option chain, we are able to be in the money with our $100, to where we're not having to go all the way down just to find us a cheap option to accommodate how much we started our account with. Okay, so what we're gonna do, okay, when you come to the option chain, your strike is like a target. That's saying that is the price that I'm looking for to go. But you don't always have to hit that, because you can always pick a strike that is equal to what the price is, and that is equal or near the price. So it doesn't have to always be. But the closer you get, that just allows you to see high deltas, and that usually means that that particular option is potentially already in is already profitable. Okay, and so with this one, we are going to look at this area up in here. Okay, so we could go here, which is $27, and if we are aiming for, let's just say, the $25 range, and so we say, okay, we want to see that this is going to $25, and we go up here to 25. You guys see here, it's going to cost us about $13 to get into that put to write it down. but I have no desire to go there. Now, let me show you guys what that delta looks like. This is a 13-cent delta. That means that the value of our option will increase by 13 cents every time that this thing moves, and I don't want to go there. And that's another thing that I was like, okay, we got something better to work with here with GameStop. So we're going to go down to in the money. Okay, so this is $27. Remember, we're in puts to ride it down from that resistance level. Okay, so let's go over to our delta, and our delta here is 50 cents. This is where I trade. I don't trade with anything less than 50, but that was one of the rules that I would not really look at over here this time, but I still did not want to go too far out. Okay, so it means that our option will gain value by 50 cents by every dollar that this thing moves in the direction that we want it to go, which is be going down. Okay, now remember this too, we don't know how long things will take. Okay, so it could take a little bit of time to move down. And also, when you are like, even if you get into something and it goes red, if it's not too red, you have to just let it play out. You don't have to try to hop in and sell it off. And the theta is time decay. This right here is saying that our option value will lose 17 cents the longer we hold it. And the closer we get to expiration, that theta will kind of start to eat. So if it's not moving, if it's not doing anything, or if it's moving against us, we will begin to see that theta kind of eat away at our profits if it does decide to return and start moving back in the direction that we want. So I will be posting a separate video explaining the Greeks, which is the delta, theta, gamma, rho, and eta. Okay, so we'll get into all of that. All right, but we are going to go with the 27.5 strike on this put, and it is going to cost us $99. So I'm going to show you guys. We're going to click that. All right, so when we click that, okay, it's going to bring up our order entry. Now, just because you see 99 cents, that does not mean that's how much it costs. You're going to multiply that times 100. One contract equals 100 shares, okay? So you see that it's 99 cent, 98 cent here, but it's going to cost us $98 to enter, okay? But you guys see how this is kind of pushing back up? That's another reason why I haven't entered it yet, because I was kind of letting it do its thing, because we want this level up here is a resistance. So if this pushes back up here, that will push it a little bit further up, and we could get that put a little bit cheaper. Okay, so you can either go for the X or you can go for the B. Because you see 99 cents, you don't have to pay that. You could say, I want to do a limit order and wait for it to come back to like 90, or I want to wait for it to come back to like that mid of 94 before I get into it, taking it down. Now, I normally go for 5 cents less than whatever that price is. So normally I go for the mid. Okay, that way I can get it a little bit cheaper versus going for whatever that market price is, or just going directly for what the X price is. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to come here, okay, and we are going to type 94 cents. Now, it will not execute immediately unless the price is already there, or once the price gets there, then it will execute, okay? So our expiration is the 17th, meaning we can hold it to the 17th, or we can hold it a little bit longer, okay? Symbol, this is just the ticker for GameStop. The strike, 27.50, that is just kind of like a target price that we have for this, but not quite, because our target would be down at the bottom at about $25. But this strikes allows us to be in the money. We have a higher delta that we can work with to see some better movement while our option make its move. Now, you see day here. When you click that, it's going to say good for day or good to cancel. This basically saying that because we are doing a limit order, do you want to hold this until the end of the day? If your position does not execute by the end of the market day, when the market's closed, close out that position. Don't worry about it. I no longer want it. Or you can say good to cancel, meaning that it will hold this position until this option value is to that 94 cents that we're aiming for. That is all that is, okay? So you can do it that way. But if we hit market, okay, we can do market to say, you notice how our 98 has disappeared? That is because if we hit market, that means that this position is going to execute and start going the minute we hit our order. Okay, the minute we hit for it to go ahead and place the order, then it is going to execute. Okay, so when you do market, that means you're just going for whatever the cost of this option is in that moment. As you guys can see here, it's going to be 103 in the moment that we purchase it. Okay, and that is because that is the axe price. But I'm going for the $94. Okay, so I'm trying to break it down a little bit so that we are able to get this thing a little bit cheaper than what it's currently at. Okay, and we're in puts now. So you see this little red candle, and because it's pushing down, it means that the option value is increasing. Therefore, we would want to see it push up a little bit more before we get into that play. Also, we're working with $100, so 103 is not where we need. We are slowly getting back to that 94 that we're kind of going for with this 27.50 strike. Now, we could go with this one, but I wanted to kind of bring it down a little bit, okay? You see we're working with a little bit higher delta at 60 cents, and as you guys can see too, deltas change, okay? The delta has the ability to change, and it all ties into the other groups, and that, like I said, we'll get into that later, okay? So this delta here is up currently at 70 cents, okay? Come here, all right, we're gonna go and we're gonna enter it here, and we're gonna bring it down. So we went over this right here pretty much, okay? So I am going to bring that down to our 94 range as our limit, and we're going to just simply hit place order. Okay, and this right here just gives you your order confirmation that transaction fees, timing force, all of that stuff, and we're going to hit buy. Okay, and then we're going to come here. I'm going to take this off and this out of the way. And I'll take that out of the way. And we now have our option, our position. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add our orders down here. So not our orders, our position. So I'm gonna come down here, gonna hit add widget and hit positions. All right, and you guys will be able to see our position progress from here as well. And then from here, we just let our position do what it does. Okay. Now, my initial goal with this was like just letting it kind of go. Like, are we setting a goal for like 25 a day, 50 a day? Because we're going from 100 to 8,000. Now, the first target that I'm even looking at to exit out of this would be in this little piece here where I have these little blocks, these two lines right here. It's sort of where I'm looking to get out of this at, especially at the top of this. I was also looking at this little level right up in here where we kind of have a tweezer here where we push down. You guys see where this candle closed. This candle here is somewhat open at the same level. Pushed it down a little bit, but this right here is sort of what you look at as a tweezer bottom. Okay, and if you have not watched the candlestick series where I talk about the different candlestick patterns, then that is going to be a series that you can also watch to understand different formations, as well as this one right here that's pretty much presenting itself. Okay, so it came here and it was an indication that it will push back up after we saw how these candles go. Now, me personally, I look for tweezers on like the 15-minute, the 30, and the hourly charts, but not the 1 minute and the 5 minute charts because they could, be short lived. So it went there and it pushed back up to this level here. So I'm looking for this area as where we will exit unless there are some indication that we can push a little bit further down to where it was in the pre-market. Okay, so as of now, we are going to leave this alone and we are going to let it run and we're going to let it do what it do. So Okay, guys, so the market is now closed. We did not hit our 25% mark yet. Now, we ended this day at up at 18.62% and up $17.50. Okay, now I know you probably like, what the hell is that? Where else would you make 18% in one day on your money? Nowhere. So let's keep that in mind when we're doing this. We're looking for small gains. Okay, I couldn't play the game over here on our series account like I do on my other account because that requires more capital, and we're starting with $100 for this series. GameStop is a slow burn play. That's why I wanted this to also be our very first one. It's a slow burn, okay? And we just might be exiting this play tomorrow to get into our next one, and I just might make our next one an actual day trade to just show you guys you get in, and then once it hits our marks or whatever setup we see, and we go ahead and get in and we exit out of that, and then we move on to the next one. So I want the whole series to kind of be a swing thing where we hold for a few days, but I might not do the entire thing like that so that I can show you guys what each and every trade looks like. A day trade, a swing trade, and I just might also do a scalp trade. Okay, so only thing with scalping, you most definitely want to be in the money or deep in the money so that quick price action, we can see a decent amount of profit to get out within a minute, 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. And the only thing with scalping, we might need to try that one when we build up the account a little bit more because we want to have our option value moving fairly quickly. So we can't do that with them out of the money options. Okay, so this was episode 1, and we're going to keep this thing going until we hit $1,000. And this is to show you guys exactly how simple it is, but it also to show you guys that it requires some patience sometimes, depending on what type of trader you're trying to be also. So that was that. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask below. And if you have a particular stock that you want to look at or you want to explore in the series, then please put it below so that we can also look at it. Keep in mind what we're starting with now. So don't try to go too far up with Facebook and let's see, Netflix and all of these 3, 4, 5, 6, $700 stocks now. All right, we got to try to stay in the money. We got to try to stay at the money. But even if you do want to look at those anyway, we can explore them. But with what we're starting with and not having to go too far down, we don't want to go too big now. So once we build up our account to at least between, let's just say, 250, 300, maybe $500, we can begin to explore the bigger ones that I have already written down of what we're going to look at once we hit that level. So episode 1 in the books, day 1 in the books, and 18% up for our very first place. So